Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Olga, and it's my greatest pleasure to welcome you here today for our next session on Google AdSense On Air. And today our session is dedicated for tracking your AdSense revenue. Before we actually start, and we're waiting for several more people to join our Hangout, I would like to start with some housekeeping rules. So first of all, you might be aware of the registration link that we have for our sessions. So if you haven't registered yet for the upcoming sessions, or if you have done so, but are actually know that some of your friends or colleagues or partners might still be interested in joining our live updates, so please feel free to share with them the link. It's g.co/AdsenseOnAir. Meanwhile, if you have any questions regarding the specific Hangout or any questions about AdSense reporting I'm covering today, feel free to bring your questions either via live chat that we have in our Hangout right now, or you can also use the link that we have. It's g.co/AdsenseQuestions, and I will be too happy to cover these questions today after our Hangout. To be aware of the time, I think that it will take us approximately 30 minutes today to finish up the topic and the questions. If we go a bit extra time, that's fine. I will be happy to remain here with you and answer the questions. One more important thing from my side. Feel free to give your opinion on our program, because we are constantly improving the pace of it and how it goes and which kind of topic we are covering. So if you have any feedback, any suggestions, please bear them with me and let us know so we can improve that. One small ask from my side before we start: if you're submitting any type of feedback and if you're writing any questions for me about this specific topic of the AdSense revenue reporting, please submit them in English, so it can be easy for me to access them and to answer them. This time I can be more effective as they will be submitted in English. Before we jump straight ahead to our agenda, several words about myself. As I have already mentioned, my name is Olga, and I'm here with Google for more than 3 years already. To tell the truth, it has been 3 years on the 12th of April, so it has been a small anniversary for me together with Google. Right now, I'm working in a role of strategic partner manager in the AdSense team, and in my responsibilities is to cover the Russian market, and with the aim to help publishers succeed in their monetization strategy. So that's it from my side, and let's jump straight ahead to the agenda for today. So the main topics we're gonna cover, they're gonna be based on 4 different pillars. So the first pillar is the key definitions. So basically the major terms that we use in identifying our performance and reporting when we are talking about our revenue streams. The second pillar is going to be based on the common reports, some basic functions that are automatic already in your account and which you can access pretty easily in order to understand your performance and understand how you can actually optimize your account later on. The third pillar is going to be allocated for the advanced reports. Sometimes there is an urge to go more granular into your reporting to understand the performance of the specific ad units, specific platforms. So I'm going to guide you through that. And finally, we're going to have some extra functions. By extra functions, we will cover the customized reporting that is also available for you, as well as the scheduling reports and using such functions as filtering and customizations. So let's go to the first pillar and speak about key definitions in details. So I'm going to highlight several key definitions which we are using in our reporting. The first one is the impressions. The impressions is a number of ad units, and it's usually applicable to the content ads or the search queries. And this one is usually applicable for the search ads that showed ads. So when we're speaking about impressions in AdSense, it is important to understand that the impressions is count only when the ad is being shown on the page. It may be a bit different from other Google products when the impressions is count based on the web pages that are being displayed. So please bear this in mind. The next term is CPM. And CPM stands for cost per mile or cost per thousand of impressions. That is actually what advertisers are willing to pay, what they are bidding for one of the thousands of views. When I'm talking about the auction, You probably know that there is like possible differences about like how you can bid. It can be either CPM or CPC. So actually, when we are doing the auction, we are taking into account both the CPM and the CPC metrics, and the ads which can potentially generate more revenue for you will actually win. So you don't have to worry about this. The next term is called RPM, and RPM stands for revenue per thousand of impressions. When we are speaking about the formula, it is calculated at estimated earnings divided by the number of the page views and multiplied by 1,000. That's how we get our RPM. Estimated earnings that we already used in the formula of RPM calculations is a close estimate of your recent account activity. And when you are looking at the estimate earnings, you can actually see them like on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, wherever you prefer. Sometimes I'm getting questions from the publisher asking me why the estimated earnings fluctuate during the daily basis. So when you're checking, like for example, in the beginning of the day, it's one number, and when you're checking in the end of the day, it's another number. So just want to make sure that everybody understands it. So there is a small fluctuation during the day because we're adjusting like our reporting, we're making sure everything is tracked automatically and correctly. So if you want to see the estimated earnings reporting for the day, it's better to go like 24 hours before and check like the reporting for the previous day. Please allow us like 24 hours in order to complete all the tracking and all the adjustments. Speaking about the page views is a page view when a user actually views a page display in Google Ads. It's also a very popular question regarding how we calculate the page views. And here I would like to give a specific example. So for example, we have 2 pages being displayed, and all of these pages, they have 3 ad units. So if you want to calculate how many page views will be counted, it's going to be actually 2 page views. So based on the fact that at least 1 ad has been displayed on this page. Moving on to the CTR. CTR is a click-through rate, or the number of ad clicks divided by the number of the impressions. CTR is a very useful metric when you want to understand how clickable is your ad and how customers or users are likely to click on your ad. So it's one of the important parameters. And the last one, but not the least, it's called active view viewable, and it is the percentage of impressions that were viewable out of the measurable impressions. I would like to stop a bit more on the viewability metrics in order to understand why it's important and how we can influence that. Viewability is very important for forming our advertising ecosystem in general. And it is because of the 3 reasons. So one of the major reasons is that more brand dollars to digital. It allows advertisers to measure whether an ad was actually seen. And publishers can unlock revenue from formerly undervalued inventory. So what happens if you see that ads is not viewable? So maybe you can skip ad and like try to allocate it in a more viewable position. The next reason is a greater transparency and confidence to the market. So if you're working with viewability, it helps both advertisers and publishers to make sure that their ad is visible to our final users. And finally, viewability metrics influence the better user experience for our consumers in general. So publishers have the opportunity to optimize their ads and the amount of ads on their websites for actually to display only visible ads and to help them optimize the speed of the website. So in this case of the scenario, you actually have less ads, then you have like higher speed, and you make the overall experience of the consumers much more beneficial for them. If we're speaking about viewability and why it's important, first of all, let's stop for a while and understand what is viewability. So as I have already mentioned, viewability, our ads and count as viewable is more than 50% of your ads is being displayed on the screen for at least 1 second or longer. Viewability metrics is correlated with your performance. So in general, we can observe that whenever you increase your viewability, there is an increase in the CPM. It varies from the industries and from the countries, but actually it's a good best practice to go to in order to understand how you can influence your performance. And there are several steps you can undertake in order to increase your viewability. So the first one is positioning of your ad. In many cases, it's important to position your ad not always like as high as possible, but sometimes positioning right above the fold is the most optimal position of your ad in order to achieve better results. The next step you can take is the format of your ads. If you compare the vertical ads and the horizontal ads, in many cases, actually the vertical ads are more beneficial for you and they result in a better viewability score. Plus, there is a very interesting format which publishers are using right now. It's called sticky ads. And sticky ads is also a nice feature in order to increase your viewability metrics and to make your ads visible for your final consumer. The last step that you can also take in terms of viewability increase is lazy loading. Lazy loading is also known as smart loading. What it actually means, it means throwing your ads whenever it is necessary. For example, throwing your ads toward the bottom of the page only when users are actually scrolling towards this bottom. If you are speaking about the metrics that you would like to achieve in your viewability, I would say that on average, try to keep it about 50. Of course, it will vary from mobile and desktop. On mobile, there is an average viewability lower than on desktop. But in general, if you want to have this like benchmark number, so try to achieve the viewability, which would be higher than like 50%. This is a good number to be based on. So now we're going to our second pillar of the presentation, and it is our common reports. During today's common reports, I will cover the following reports. The first one is the sites reports. Then we jump to the countries reports and try to analyze more in detail the platform and the content platform reports, which are very beneficial for our statistics. So first of all is the common reports. If you ask me how to access it, I will try to navigate you. So first of all, regarding the navigation, you should go to your AdWords interface. Sorry for telling AdWords, it's actually AdSense interface. And then you choose the performance report, and then you choose common reports, and then you select sites there. So the benefits of this report is actually that you can display the data by your domains and subdomains, including estimated earnings, ad requests, and much more. There are a lot of publishers that are using a lot of that sites in their AdSense account. So if you want to understand which site is actually bringing you much more revenue, so you can actually optimize these websites, it's important to have a look in this report and try to see the data breakdown and the revenue breakdown. Moreover, if you have more than 5,000 websites, it's possible to download the CVS file and actually see the statistics about these sites. But in the majority of cases, you have less than 5,000 websites in your AdSense account, so you can display them easily in your AdSense interface. The second type of the common reports is called countries reports. So also speaking about the navigation, it should be pretty simple. So you go to the performance reports, then you choose common reports, and from common reports you select countries. The countries report is very beneficial for you in order to see the breakdown by country of different visitors who visited your site actually. I don't have the pic of it on the slide, but if you have experience of navigating through this report, you might have seen a very nice map there. So you can actually see the breakdown of the data based not only by the numbers, but you can see a nice visual representation of the data based on the map. For example, if the most popular country is UK and Ireland, so you will see these countries highlighted in blue. It's very easy to navigate the data, as I already mentioned. There is one trick here. So sometimes you want to see the countries report based on the specific sites. And if you have multiple sites on your account, it will be a bit tricky. If you try to navigate it in your countries report, you will not be able to do it. But for this purpose, we have more advanced version of the report. It is called Verified Sites Report. So here you can go more granular and see the country statistic metrics based on your sites. Don't worry about it for now, because I will go more into details when we reach our third pillar and advanced report section. So let's talk a bit about our platforms report. Platforms report are also like very intuitive to navigate, and you can go to the performance report and then use like common reports and select platforms there. The main benefit of the platform report is that it enables you to see which devices your ad units were viewed on. For example, it might be mobile, it might be desktop, it might be tablets. So for you, it's important to understand where the user coming from and where do you have to optimize your mobilization strategy. Do you have to point attention more on mobile, on a desktop, and how you should allocate your ad units there. So right now I'm experiencing a lot of cases where actually mobile devices are booming and users are accessing different websites on mobile devices. So bear this in mind and try to adjust your monetization strategy based on device accordingly. When you are speaking about the data graph representation, it might be very hard and very difficult like to look at the numbers all the time. So we have different options how the graph views can be actually displayed. So in general, we have like 3 types of data representation views. So first one is a timeline, where you can see just the data by days, by months, like the way you prefer. Then come the bar chart and the pie chart. The bar chart represents like several bars depending on your data, and then the pie chart. Whenever I look at the platform performance report, to tell the truth, I try to use the pie chart because for me, it gives like very visual representation of the mobile devices. So here in this case, like as you can see, like on our slide, the majority is data of the coming from the desktop, and I can see it pretty visible and pretty clear on our slide and in our reporting as well. It's important to understand what type of platform is more popular for your users in order to see how we can optimize your speed and mobile experiences. If mobile is important for you and you see that maybe like 50% of traffic is coming from mobile, so there are several tools which we can use with the help of Google in order to improve the user experience on mobile devices. I would recommend you to use 2 of them. So first one is called Test My Site. So you can access it easily, just like typing in your browser, test my site, sync with Google, and you will get the screen where you can put your URL. You just press the button enter, and then you are getting report on your mailbox covering the major updates and the major suggestion on how you can improve your mobile speed. Also, it gives you the rating of your page, so you can see like how you're doing based on the average. If you want to get some extra insights, you can go to Page Speed Insights report, and in Page Speed Insights report, you can receive an actionable advices what you can do with your site now in order to optimize it. One suggestion from my side: it's important to check not only the home page, but it's important to check your subdomains as well. Why it's useful? Because sometimes what I notice from the publishers, when we check one of the pages, it works like pretty well. And then you have like a nice score, like above average, and everything is in green, which is good. But when you check like separate page, which is more popular, for example, from the user side, you see that the speed is very low. So it's important to keep track of them and to understand like what should you build your strategy on. If you have difficulties working with the tool, accessing the tool and accessing the reporting, and you cannot understand why mobile is important nowadays, you can do a very practical exercise which helps a lot. Just to try to put yourself in the shoes of your user and try to access your website based on like your mobile devices, and try to navigate it and see like what you can do on your website actually. It helps a lot, and sometimes we discover a lot of insights when we are having calls with my publishers. I would also like to mention briefly the 25 design principle, which help you to delight users and drive conversions. I will not cover all of them in detail, but feel free to come up to this slide and actually later on to review it. But I would highlight 5 major things here. So the first one, you should make sure that the home page is clear, it's fast to download, and the site navigation is also pretty clear and concise. It helps your users to navigate on your pages. Then comes the site search. So the site search should be very simple as well. It shouldn't be a problem for your user to find this search bar and actually try to look for information on your website. Ability to convert should be very simple as well. So for example, if you have any click-to-call actions, or you want a guest to purchase something on your website, it should be easily to do. Yesterday, I had the experience when I was trying to purchase something online, and it was difficult for me to navigate this convert button. It happens to me when I'm ordering tickets online. I was flying to US like last week, and I was trying to book like internal flights tickets, and it was difficult for me to navigate like this like click to action bar, like purchase bar. So I just like skip this website and bought like the ticket on a different website. So it might be very beneficial for the user to have this clearly, concise, navigatable. Then comes the form entry. Whenever you feel that you want to submit any form, so it should be straightforward as well. You should have like pretty clear drop downs, visual calendars. You should try to minimize any errors and make users have a nice experience. If there is an option to autofill some of the fields, it can be very efficient as well. And final, but not like the last one and not the least one, is usability and form factor. So try to make sure that your website is user-friendly and it's not difficult for people to navigate it, to zoom in, to rotate the screen, and for your content to be adjusted towards the screen. So to sum up the monetization piece, feel free to go through this design principle and to use our internal tools, such as Test My Sites, Google, and the Page Speed Insights in order to improve your monetization strategy on mobile devices. The last report in the common report sections is called Content Platform Report. It is pretty intuitive to navigate, and it's using the same logic as we have discussed previously. So first of all, you go to the performance reports, then you choose common reports, and then you choose like content platforms. And this report is important for those publishers who are using Accelerate mobile pages. So if you're ever wondering where you can see the data breakdown on AMP pages versus regular web pages, so here the reports, the content platform report. So you can easily navigate it and compare the results that you are achieving on the regular platforms and AMP pages as well. So as you can see on the slide, when you break out the data, you can see the platforms and the content platforms. So in the platform piece, you will see the mobile devices, desktop devices, and tablet devices, as well as other devices. And in the content platform piece, you will see like whether it was web or AMP pages. Last month, we had already the Hangout on Air as well, dedicated for AMP pages. If you haven't checked it yet, please go ahead and do check it. But I would like to highlight the major principles of the AMP pages and the major results that you can achieve together with the AMP. So overall, if we compare the non-AMP pages with the AMP ones, we see that 80% of publishers, even more, realizing higher viewability rates on AMP pages. 90+% of publishers, the majority, are driving greater engagement with higher CTRs on AMP pages in comparison to non-AMP pages. If you're speaking about the viewabilities and CTR metrics, so we can see the nice difference here. So for viewability, we see the 37% difference in AMP pages in comparison to regular pages, and 44% difference in CTR when you compare non-AMP and AMP pages. So the major opportunity here for you will be actually try to understand your mobile and AMP strategy for the future year, or maybe like for this year already, and try to see whether we can adjust it or no, because the results are pretty amazing. If you don't know how to do it, like please check our previous Hangout. It describes it pretty visibly. So there are several options to go through, either like you do it manually, or if you're using, for example, WordPress on your website, so you can use different plugins and make this even more simple. Now we're coming to our third pillar, and it's called Advanced Reports. In Advanced Report section, I would like to cover like three major pieces. So first one is the Ad Formats Report, Creative Sizes Report, and the Verified Sites Report. I talked a bit about it already. Let's start with the first one. So the first one is ad formats reporting. Navigation is a bit different from the common reports, but it's close to each other. So if you want to navigate advanced reports, you first go to the performance report, then you choose advanced reporting there, not the common report section, and then you choose ad formats. The benefit here is you can actually see the summary across 3 dimensions. And by 3 dimensions, I mean requested ad types, ad formats, and ad placements. The major purpose of these reports is to compare the performance of different ad formats and to see which one is performing better. Also, if you are using like pretty new formats and you want to check if they are doing better than the ones you had used before, this is also the report that you have to access. One more tip from my side. We have introduced like several new products. Auto ads, you probably have already heard about them. Also, native ads are quite new. And one of the products which are boosting right now, it's called link units. So if you are curious about whether you can access statistics about them, so ad formats reports in advanced reports is the way you should go to in order to see the statistics about them. If you haven't heard about our recent change in auto ads and haven't used this product yet, I would strongly encourage and recommend you to test it. To make the story short, actually auto ads help you to place your ads on your website in a very simple and innovative way. So you actually have to place one piece of code on your website in order for your ads to be displayed automatically on your website, and it helps you to monetize your website more efficiently. Auto ads are focusing on 3 things. First of all, it's simplicity, convenience, and automation. And by simplicity, I mean that you can turn on the auto ads by simply clicking one button in your AdSense interface. So it's done pretty simple. By convenience, I mean that auto ads can work with existing ad units as well on their own. So for example, if you have already the ad units with a good performance and you know like this ad units brings you a lot of revenue, it might not be a good idea to remove it and to replace it with auto ads, but you can use them mutually. But for example, at some pages you don't have any monetization strategy and you would like to test how auto ads perform by themselves. So it's also an option and you can go and play just auto ad there and see how it performs. And the last thing is about automation. So with auto ads, you don't have to decide where to put ads, how to put them, what kind of size to creative you should use, and whether you should use different targeting or the bid types. So everything will be done by the system and everything will be done by Google. So if you haven't tested yet, please go ahead and try this product, make an A/B test, and please compare the performance of these products in the ad formats report. So I will show this slide one more time in order for you to understand where you can access it. So it's called ad formats. So moving on to our next reporting possibility, and it's called creative size reporting. Creative size reporting is also navigatable in advanced reporting section. You just have to go through the steps: performance reports, then you choose advanced reporting, and then you choose creative sizes. So the major benefit of this reporting is showing you what size of the display ads were served on your website. You can see the standard ad sizes, and you will see actually the breakdown by sizes in your reporting. But sometimes you will see the line which is labeled as dynamic. So by dynamic, we mean that this display ads doesn't have a standard size. So the data will be aggregated in the dynamic line. Small note from my side as well is that the ad size that is served on your site might not be the same as the ad size that is officially requested by the ad unit. It happens because sometimes you have a bigger ad unit slot and smaller ad creative might appear in these ad units. So in such a case, there would be like a small discrepancy between them. The creative sites reporting is also beneficial for you if you are using responsive ads or if you are using DFP and would like to see what kind of creatives were used from the AdSense site in your DFP. So this data is accessible only in creative size reporting. If you will try to use just ad sizes reporting for this purpose, you will not be able to access it. So one more time, just to repeat where you can find the data about DFP AdSense dynamic allocation and about the responsive ads, you should go to the creative size reporting in order to see this data in details. And the last type of advanced reporting, it is called verified sites reporting. It's also pretty easy to access. So you just go to the performance reports, then you choose advanced reporting, and then you go through the verified sites reports. The benefit of these reports, it actually that it displays the data by the domains and subdomains in your verified site list. The list of sites in the verified sites report is a subset of the sites that appear in the sites report. I have already mentioned in the beginning about the common reports, which is called sites report. So the major difference between those two reports is that in the common report, you can see the aggregated data based on your accounts per countries. But if you would like to access the specific data of a specific site and split it by countries, so the best way for you will be to go to the verified sites reporting and check this information here. Moreover, if you want to know which site have been verified, which site have not been verified, you might go to the manage your sites in AdSense. It's in settings, and then you choose my sites, and you can see which sites have been verified, which are not. In my site, there is also a useful section about the AdX.txt notifications, so you can also see which websites are still requiring the AdX.txt file being adjusted in your websites. So please feel free to check these reports in order to understand what geographically widespread sites are being used in your websites. So we're coming closer to the end, and I'm going to cover the last pillar, which is called some extra things that we can do with our reporting. And by these extra things, I mean, first of all, the custom reports, the schedule and export option, and filtering and comparison option in your reporting. So speaking about the custom reporting, so sometimes you can access the common reports and advanced reports, which are populated already automatically in your accounts. But for many publishers, it's beneficial and useful to create their own report and be able to use it all the time. So you don't have to go each time and create the report, so you will have it into account into the same section. So just go and see your custom report all the time. So I will navigate you through these steps so you can actually go and see how to create your custom report and how you can share it with you, your partners, with yourself later on. So the first step you have to do here, you have to go to the performance reports tab. Then you have to choose actually the report type. It can be either common reports or advanced reports as well. Then you have to choose the metric family that should be used. And by metric family, I mean either overview metric, clicks metric, views metric, active views, engagements, and ad sessions. Don't feel pressurized to choose either of them. You can also all the time choose every of them. Plus, you can select your custom one. Just to give an example, if you want to be interested in tracking cost per click metrics, you could choose the click tab and save it there. So you will have this data accessible all the time. The next step would be actually to choose the metrics and show them on the graph. I think it's a very nice feature that every metric has its own color. And when you see the reporting and the graph being built on your display, you can distinguish what's going on there. So for example, you will see estimated earnings in green, you can see impressions in red, you can see RPMs in different color. So it's a very nice feature, and try to play around with it and see how the data can be displayed in your AdSense reporting. The fifth step is the date range selector. So when you're making your reporting, it's better to select the date range because sometimes one day cannot be like super representative. So it's better to select 2-3 weeks in order to assess the performance of the specific change that you have made. Plus, it can be useful for you to compare the date range with the previous months, if you're comparing the monthly data, or the previous months of the previous year. So when you compare the data, for example, of April to the data of the April from 2017, it gives you a nice idea about the seasonality and how you're improving from year to year. The next setting in the custom report will be the graph type. I have already mentioned as well that you have several options to display your data, and in some cases it may be more representative not to use only timeline data, but to use world map, bar chart, and pie chart as well. From my experience, when you access the platform reports and content platform reports, it might be useful to use pie charts. The next options provide you more granular control. So if you want to see some dimensions, you can also go and add different dimensions to your reporting, as well as different filters. So if you want to filter specific reports for specific ad units, you can also go ahead and use filter option in order to adjust it. In order to understand what kind of filters and what kind of dimensions you can use, you can just go to your reporting, press filter add, or when dimension, like press add button, and see what kind of options are available there. And the last piece about your custom reports, the way you want to save them. So you have several options here. First of all, you can save them and have it available in your account always. You can export them and download them to your computer, or you can select one more option, which I specifically like. And this actually is like scheduling your reporting. What it means, if you don't have time to access your AdSense account all the time, check the reporting, you want to access it maybe once per month, it might be a good idea to schedule the reporting and have this email in your email box like once a while and see how you're getting on there. So just like press save your report, run report automatically, choose the frequency you would like to receive your report on, and provide the emails that you would like to share it with. It will give you a nice updates all the time and makes you keep on track of your reporting. Don't forget about the filtering and comparison options in your report as well. Regarding the filter option, we have covered it a bit, so you can just go and select different filter buttons and see how you can compare different graphs and tables based on the filters that you use. From my side, when I access the reporting, I mainly use filters to adjust the data for specific ad units or for specific ad platforms. It helps me a lot when I want to receive more granular data. And compare button is, I would say, undervalued, but it should be used more often. So whenever you access any of your reports, you have filter button, and right next to it, it will be compare button. And by this compare button, you can actually see the graph and compare different ad units, different platforms, different content platforms. For example, you have done native ads, auto ads, or like some more different ad units, and you would like to compare the specific performance of these like new ad unit to the old ones. So you can just go to the report, like choose ad units and press this compare button, and you will receive a nice graph that indicating the main metrics based on these ad units. It's very beneficial like to have a look at it and to understand like which ad units is performing better. I have covered like the major pillars for today, but you might be wondering how can you optimize your account like constantly, right? Because you can access your reporting, you can receive a lot of data regarding the performance of the account with different metrics, but sometimes you require several optimization tips. And for this, we also have a solution. You can go and subscribe to your monthly reports and optimization tips based on your personal account performance. I want to highlight that when you subscribe to our optimization and monthly reports, you're not getting like some general data. Actually, the optimization data is based on your accounts, so it's being customized by our machine learning. So it's beneficial to be subscribed to it. Apart from optimization tips and monthly reports on drops and increases, you'll receive some relevant information about our new product launches and product improvements, as well as event invitation, policy news, and special offers. If you're wondering how you can get this easily and how you can subscribe for it, it should be done in like less than 30 seconds, I believe. So you can just go to your account, then you can go to your settings and select account and personal settings. And on the email preferences, you can tick the boxes for all marketing emails. And one important thing about the last step, you have to press the save button. So make sure you have pressed the save button in order to stay updated with our emails on optimization. If you're wondering if you're opted in automatically, it's not the case, because for these emails, we are not opening publishers automatically. So if you want to go and do it, so please go and do it now, not to forget it later on, and try to check out our optimization tips for later on. So this is it from my side. So just to make a short summary, we have covered today like the major metrics that we are using in our reporting, as well as common reports, advanced reports, and some extra functions that you can use in your reporting. I know that we have like several questions already, so I will allow like maybe 2-3 minutes in order to go through your questions and have a look about like which questions I would like to cover. And I will be back like in 1-2 minutes, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So welcome back, guys. Like, it was my pleasure to see that we have a lot of questions which are asked from my side. So I will go ahead and answer some of them. I will not manage to answer all of them, but I will do my best like to go through all of them. And if you have some questions being left after my presentation, feel free to reach out to your account manager and ask them like straight ahead. So the first question is like, why I experienced drop in revenue and what are the potential reasons. Actually, it's a very good question. I'm getting it a lot all the time. And if you want to understand like what are the potential reasons for the revenue drops, revenue reporting would be actually a beneficial way for you to go and try to isolate your specific reasons for it. I would like to highlight 3 major reasons for the revenue drops. So the first one is usually correlated with the traffic fluctuations. So if you go into your reporting accounts and see how the impressions are being fluctuating, so most of the time it's correlated with the traffic drops. The second reason is usually seasonality. So sometimes you see a huge drop downs on Christmas, or maybe like when your website is correlated with some financial activities, right? Financial topics. There are like specific time slots per year when you can experience significant up and downs. So you can go and check the specific performance based on this year with comparison to the previous year, and it will help you to understand the seasonality trends. And the last thing why you can actually experience the different fluctuations in your performance and in your revenue upstreams is the positioning of your ads and the usage of different formats. And here, if you wanted to isolate the reason, it will be nice to go and check the performance of each specific ad unit, especially when you have done A/B tests recently, and to assess when and what have been done and how it has been done. It might be a good idea to go and check the historical changes. When you go and do it in the account, you can see like what have you changed recently and if it had affected the performance of your account. So all in all, these 3 major reasons usually solve the problem. If it's something different, feel free to approach our technical support guys. They will be more than happy to help you in order to try to understand your revenue fluctuations. The second question which I got is about the difference between the sessions in AdSense and the sessions in GA. By GA, I mean Google Analytics. I hope it was meant to Google Analytics. So I know that many publishers are using Google Analytics for the tracking of their traffic and their website performance, which is a good thing. But there is actually a difference in the way how we measure the sessions in GA and the Google AdSense. And the major difference is that in AdSense, we measure the sessions based on the web pages that display the ads, while in Google Analytics, the data is aggregated. So if you see the discrepancy in this session number, so this is major the reason why it's so. But it's nice that both products are being used. The next question is a bit granular, but I really liked it. So the question is, what is the difference between our targeting types and bid types in the report? So I would say there is like a crucial difference between them. So if we are speaking about the targeting types reports, it usually means how advertisers are targeting your website, right? How they're targeting the ads. So it can be either contextual, it can be interest-based, it can be placement-based. So this is meant by the targeting types. And if we are speaking about the bid type report, it is mainly correlated with the bids that is being used. It can be either CPMs, it can be CPCs, or it can be CPVs. So this is a crucial difference. I know it sounds maybe similar, but in general, when we would like to differentiate it, it's like 2 different topics. Okay, then. And the last question, which I'm gonna take today, it's a bit contradictory one, but it's also a good one. So the question is, what is the good click-through rate and what is the benchmark for it? So the CTR, basically. To tell the truth, it's very difficult to determine the exact CTR which you should aim at. So the CTR which should you aim at depends a lot on your industry and your country. So as data is very different, so I would say it's more important to bear in mind how you can optimize the performance and try to increase it from time to time, also addressing the active view metric. So I would say don't keep in mind the specific number that we should aim at. It's better like to progress via time and try to achieve like better results. And for achieving these better results, try to check our optimization tips all the time, which are available in your accounts, which might be available from your account manager as well. And also, if you are subscribing for our monthly updates, you'll be able to receive optimization tips, and you'll be able to know how to influence not only active view metrics, but the CTR metrics as well. So I think like this is all the questions, like the most urgent ones and the ones that I found like more beneficial to be answered. Thank you guys for your attention. It was a pleasure to be here with you today. I hope you really enjoy our hangouts. And after these hangouts, I will email you the presentation and the link for this survey. So feel free to let me know like what kind of suggestions you have and what we can improve. One more time, it was a pleasure to be with you today, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.